Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So today I'm going to speak about branding, and I'm going to talk about what branding is. I'm also going to talk about how brands are created. I'm also going to talk about why people buy brands, okay? And then finally, I'm going to talk about two truths and a lie in the world of branding, okay? But before I start, I want to just share an experience, a story with you, okay? In 1972, now that's admittedly some ways off. In 1972, a meteorite had what is known as a near-Earth incident. So what happened was that the meteorite actually came very close to Earth, okay, and it bounced off the Earth's atmosphere, yeah? And when it did this, it actually showered some fragments of the meteorite onto Earth, notably around the Rocky Mountains area in the USA. Okay? This was in 1972. I was 10 years old then. Okay? But later on in my life, 1991 to be precise, Lintas sent me to work in Lintas, New York for a bit. And as a side trip, I went to the Rocky Mountains, and that's when I heard this story about the 1972 meteorite. And there was a little town over there, and in that town, there were a whole bunch of souvenir shops, okay? And I actually picked up one of the fragments of the meteorite, okay? And this is the fragment. Can you see? Yeah? This is a fragment of the meteorite. Okay, I picked it up from the shop. And the reason I tell you this story is because of the way that the salesperson in the shop actually sold me the meteorite fragment. Okay? But, and I'm going to share that with you. But before I do that, just out of curiosity, how much do you think I bought this for? And how much do you think this meteorite fragment is worth today? So how much do you think I bought it for? You can tell me a dollar amount. Anyone? Take, huh? $100, someone says? 25, 100, 1,000, not bad. Anybody else? Okay. 1,002. Wow, okay. Okay, 1,000, not bad. Okay. What do you think it is currently worth? Sorry, 15,000? $100,000 sold. I got it in Dahisar for free. Now, what I just did was to create a brand. Okay? And I'm going to explain to you what a brand is. Okay? So, I heard a very interesting definition of what is a brand. The definition is that a brand is that part of the product which is not created in the factory. That part of the product which is not created in the factory. Okay? So let's think about this a little bit. Yeah? In fact, I'm going to show you another brand. This one you're probably a little familiar with. Okay? You've seen this brand? Yeah? Everyone's seen this brand? Yeah? Coke, right? Everybody knows this brand. Okay, so let me do one small thing here. Let me just take this label off. Okay? Something missing? right? You can, yeah, the label, yeah, for sure. You know? Now, suddenly, this doesn't stand for as much as it did with the label on, right? Now, suppose I took this red cap off and I put a blue cap on, right? Would you be sure what this was, what the content inside was? No longer, right? Okay? And suppose I poured this out into a glass, would you be able to say for certain that this is Coke and not Pepsi? No, no? Right. And in fact, they've done some experiments here, and what they found was that in a blind test, the majority of people, when they're blindfolded, can't even tell the difference between a lime drink and an orange drink, let alone Coke and Pepsi. The majority of people, okay? So what is a brand, right? If I take that colored, sweetened syrup, right? The cost of making just the syrup, I believe, according to AI and according to the internet, is roughly 3 rupees. Cost of making that syrup. Okay? The cost of bottling it, packaging, marketing, advertising, all of that, if you add all of that up, it's about 15 rupees. Okay? And it sells for 30 to 50 rupees. Right? So that part which is made in the factory is the product. That's 2 to 3 rupees. Plus the bottle, plus everything. Catch 15 rupees. And then there's something else that is added onto it, which is imagery, which is lifestyle, which is a whole lot of other things. Okay, not product. Okay, but it's stuck onto this, right? And then it becomes a brand. Is it making sense? So I did the same thing. The product was that stone from Dahisar. And then I added this huge story, which is incidentally based in some truth, because 1972, there was a meteorite that had a near-Earth event. It did shower meteorite fragments on Earth. It's just that I don't know where those damn fragments are. And I certainly haven't gotten any of them, right? And that one isn't a meteorite fragment. Okay? But wrapping that story around that product suddenly gave that product a different level of value. Yeah? Suddenly somebody said $100,000. Okay, forget $100,000, I'd have taken $1,000 also. Yeah? So that's what branding does. Yeah? And if you want to take another example very quickly, jeans, we all wear jeans, right? Yeah? But jeans are just cotton trousers. At one point in time, they were a workman's clothes. At another point in time, they were cowboy clothes. At a third point in time, they were a symbol of flower power and rebellion. At a fourth point in time, they became comfort, right? But it's the same piece of cloth. What's changed? It's just the imagery that is associated with that cloth, that is rubbed against the cloth, that has actually changed our perception of that brand. So, I come back to the definition. A brand is that part of the product which was not created in the factory. So you have a product, then you add this extra thing on top, and it becomes a brand. Now, here are some truths. Okay, so why do people buy brands? Okay, why do we buy brands? Yeah? Why don't we just buy the colored water? Why do we buy brands? We buy brands because they do give us a value. They help us tell other people who we are. So we buy brands in clusters, and we buy brands to tell other people who we are. The minute I wear Nikes, I'm telling people this is who I am. Versus if I wear Skechers, I'm telling people this is who I am. Okay? People buy brands in clusters. And you can actually tell a lot about how a person wants to project themselves just by looking at the brands that they have, right? So brands help people express who they are to the rest of the world. So now I come to my 2 truths and a lie. My first truth is brands help people express to the world who they are. My second truth is marketers use brands to differentiate between products and to be able to charge us more for the product. Okay? And here's the lie. Branding is a white lie. It's a white lie, and it's actually a contractual lie. We enter into a contract between consumer and marketer. It's a lie that we enter into between consumer and marketer. We both agree to lie. We both agree to believe the lie. Okay? We say, yeah, you go ahead and give me all this fantasy. I know it's fake. I know it's fantasy, but I'm happy to take it because it helps me tell other people who I am. That's my time. Thank you very much. God bless.